Today I've got a top 10 list of my favorite neo-noir movies on physical media. So let's rock this. Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and yeah, we're talking about neo-noir movies today, and I've got a top 10 list of my personal favorite neo-noir movies on physical media. Now, I've always been a pretty big fan of neo-noir movies. I've always had kind of a soft spot in my heart for these types of movies. I just love the atmosphere and the mood and the visual style and, you know, some of the cool characteristics and elements that make for a great neo-noir movie. I'm talking about not just the visual aesthetics and the cool, dark, almost kind of stylized cinematography, but also really some of the themes that we encounter in a lot of neo-noir movies. The natural cynicism and pessimism, the kind of unconventional anti-hero protagonist, where the lines are kind of blurred, you know, a little bit more ambiguous in terms of good versus bad. There's often some kind of mystery or complex situation that kind of unfolds. And sometimes you even get like some dark humor and some great twists. All of these things make for, I think, a really good neo-noir movie, as well as other attributes that I haven't specifically mentioned here, but I just love the vibe of these movies. Now, interestingly enough, I've never really gotten into old school classic film noir, like movies from the 40s and 50s. Yeah, that's just not really been my thing historically, right? And it's just, I just don't watch a whole lot of movies from that era in general. So, I gotta admit, I don't have any experience with the foundation of neo-noir movies, right? But like I said, I've always been a big fan of neo-noir movies. I love neo-noir movies, and I think that just comes down to, you know, my age and, you know, what I was exposed to early on that got me into the whole neo-noir subgenre. You know, we all have certain movies from our youth that tend to have an impact on us and stay with us for many years to come. And for me, some of those films are, in fact, neo-noir movies. Now, when I first came up with the idea for this video, there were probably about a handful of titles that immediately popped into my brain, and I said, "Oh yeah, definitely have to include those movies in this list." But I also did some additional research, looking at different articles out there and different lists, other people's lists on like IMDb or whatnot, just to kind of get a sense of what other titles I might want to include on my list that I hadn't previously thought about. And I was actually pretty surprised to find that there are a lot more movies out there that I love that technically could be considered neo-noir that I had never even thought about as neo-noir movies. I hadn't made that association until that connection was made for me in whatever article or list or research I was doing. So there were a couple movies that ended up on my list that initially I didn't think of as neo-noir films prior to researching this list. But then once that connection was made and I started thinking about it more and kind of replaying the film in my head, I was like, holy crap, that's totally a neo-noir movie, and I just never noticed it before. So I had a lot of fun putting this video together, and I hope you guys enjoy the results here. Now, before I get into this list, we do have a couple new Fuzz Club members that I want to give a shout out to real quick here. First up, Jenkins became a member of the Fuzz Club recently. Jesse, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to hopefully chatting with you a little bit more and getting to know you a little better. Certainly feel free to drop a comment on any of my videos or you know, reach out to me on X. You can always do that as well. And then also, Don't Beat a Dead Horse became a member of the Fuzz Club recently. Jason, thank you so much for your support as well. I've enjoyed our chats so far, and I look forward to more of that. But Jesse and Jason, thank you both so much for your added support of the channel. It really does mean a lot to me, and I'm just very grateful for that support. And if any of you would like to know more about the Fuzz Club, there is a link in the description below you can click on, or just click that join button below and all the membership information will come up for you. All right, so without any further ado, let's get into this list here. And starting off at number 10, we've got a great 1993 film starring Nicolas Cage and Dennis Hopper. I'm talking about Red Rock West. Very cool kind of crime drama thriller, very atmospheric. And this is on Blu-ray, by the way, from Vinegar Syndrome. Their sub-label line, Cinematograph. They put out this Blu-ray last year, and it's a great release. It's certainly the best the film's ever looked. Now, admittedly, I had not seen the film at the time when I first got this. I had not seen it since the early 90s. But I remembered liking it, and so when I found out Vinegar Syndrome was releasing this, I definitely had to get a copy in my collection. So very cool release. And by the way, for those of you who've not seen these type of releases, the Cinematograph line, they're cool. They all come in like a rigid hard box, so you get your kind of chunky box. It's not super chunky, right? But it's thinner, but it's a rigid hard box. And then there's a little ribbon here, which I don't know if you can see, comes out to get the fabric-bound media book out. And I showed this off once on the channel when I first got it, but it's worth letting you guys see it again for those who are new to the channel. It's a cool little media book. I guess I'll open it up here a little bit. You got your Blu-ray disc on one side there, and then let's see if I'm able to kind of show you the book here a little bit. Let's see. Some cool essays and pictures in there. Yeah, you get some cool stuff there. Glossy. The paper stock in the book is glossy, so it's really nice paper stock, and actually the pages are actually, you know, somewhat thick, right? So it's a really it's a nice presentation in terms of the physical media presentation. It's really nice. And but a great film, great performances from Nicolas Cage and Dennis Hopper. They're both awesome in it. So if you've never seen this one, yeah, you should definitely check it out. Red Rock West for my number 10. Next up for my number 9, we've got a 1978 film here, directed by the great Walter Hill, and I'm talking about The Driver, starring Ryan O'Neal and Bruce Dern. This is a very cool movie as well. It is I would call this a pretty minimalistic movie. You know, it's pretty straightforward and simple. He's a getaway driver, and it's about, you know, the situation he finds himself in, but it's got some great neo-noir vibes. This one ranks pretty high for me as far as Walter Hill movies go. I really enjoy this one. It's got a lot of those components that we love about neo-noir movies are kind of rolled up into this one. Kind of a thriller, but otherwise just a lot of fun, and it's a great looking 4K too from Studio Canal. So if you haven't ever seen this one, it's a movie I definitely recommend, especially if you're a fan of neo-noir movies. So yeah, for my number 9, The Driver. Next up, I've got a movie here that I talked about in my last collection update video, a 2003 film called The Cooler. And this stars William H. Macy, Maria Bello, and Alec Baldwin. This is a cool film. And how can I describe it? It kind of revolves around the seedy underbelly of the Las Vegas casino life, or at least with regard to one particular casino that is run by Alec Baldwin. And William H. Macy basically plays what they call a cooler, someone who is bad luck, and who, if someone starts winning too much money at the casino, William H. Macy's character can just go hang out with the guy and stand next to him while he's playing, and all of a sudden his luck changes. So, yeah, it's a fun movie. It is a dark movie, and it's, I don't know how I would describe this, almost kind of a grimy movie. There's something kind of grimy about it, and I think that's the closest description I could give it, or descriptive word I could attach to it. But it's a really cool flick. It's kind of a crime drama and almost a bit of a thriller, but it's just a really compelling film, and it's one that I really enjoyed when I first watched it years ago. Enjoyed it so much that I bought the DVD all those years ago, and then I kind of forgot about the movie until recently when I was actually researching this video. In fact, the reason I bought this is because of this video, because I hadn't seen the movie in a while, and I knew I wanted to include this movie on my list. But of course, whenever I'm doing a list video, I try to only show things that I own, that I have actually added to my collection. It doesn't always work out that way, but that is, as a general rule of thumb, that's what I try to do when I'm making these list videos. So yeah, if you haven't seen The Cooler, it is one I would definitely recommend. Now, I will say this is a Region B disc, so keep that in mind. The little hack for my Panasonic UB820 4K player worked for playing this, so I was able to play it, but if you don't have the ability to play out-of-region discs and you're in the US, you might want to keep that in mind before picking this one up, or maybe consider getting a multi-region Blu-ray player. So this is a UK import. 101 Films is the label, but you can buy it on Amazon US. That's where I got my copy. It might just take a little bit longer to get to you because it ships through Amazon Global when you order it from Amazon US. But that's where I got my copy. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in, well, maybe check it out. The Cooler for my number 8. Okay, and moving right along to my number 7, we've got our first Michael Mann entry on this list, and I'm talking about the movie Collateral. Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx. You got Mark Ruffalo in this as well, who I'm not a big fan of, as some of you may be well aware. And also Jada Pinkett Smith, who I'm also not a fan of. But them aside, they do fine for this movie. There's nothing wrong with them in this film. But it's a great movie. I don't want to say too much about it for any of you who may not have seen this one, because personally I find this one is best to watch go in totally cold, not knowing anything about it. Don't even read the synopsis if you've never seen it. But of course, a lot of you out there have seen this. This is a great film. It's one of the better Michael Mann movies, in my opinion. I'm a big Michael Mann fan, and yeah, I just love this movie. Now, I'll be honest with you, the movie is mainly on this list because of how much I like the movie. It's not on this list as much because of like the stunning 4K quality, because that's not really what you get with this particular 4K release. It's not one of the better 4K releases I've ever come across, but that's not because of anything wrong with the restoration. It's because of the way Michael Mann shot the film. He used a combination of like 35 millimeter for some scenes, and then he also used some early digital cameras that capped out at 1080p. So this is not a, this is an upscale. They had to create a 2K digital intermediate to get a 4K of this one, because of some of the source footage was capped out at 1080p. And you can tell that when you're watching it. You can tell there are some scenes that just don't look that great, but that's because of choices made at the source by the director. So there's not much we can really do about that. I do believe they probably did the best they could with this 4K. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there are some scenes in this that look pretty good. There are some good looking scenes in this, but this is not the kind of 4K I would say is a reference 4K. If you were going to demo out your system, your home entertainment system, this is not the kind of 4K that I would recommend using for that. So anyway, great film, dripping in all this great neo-noir atmosphere and moodiness. That's definitely present here. A very cool crime drama thriller, cool story. So yeah, if you've never seen it, I would highly recommend the movie Collateral. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate that notification bell as well, so you can be alerted when I'm posting videos that you might be interested in. Also, don't forget to like the video as well. It really does help with the algorithm and the channel's visibility on YouTube. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, and next up for my number 6 is a film that I have actually become quite fond of since picking it up on 4K. And I'm talking about the 2011 film Drive, and pardon the reflection there, starring Ryan Gosling. And who do we got in this? We've got Carey Mulligan in this, Bryan Cranston, Albert Brooks is in this. It's a really, really good film. It's kind of an action drama, almost, yeah, it's a crime drama as well. But Ryan Gosling is kind of this, he's a stuntman who's also like a getaway driver, like a Hollywood stuntman, who's also a getaway driver. He's got this kind of a mysterious aura about him. Like, we don't really know the full story with this guy, but anyway, he gets himself into this situation, and I'll just leave it at that. If you've never seen it, this is a really, really good film, and one I would definitely recommend. Again, dripping in that neo-noir atmosphere, that moodiness, the whole vibe that I love about neo-noir movies. It's all there. So yeah, and let me show you the other side of the Steelbook. I missed out on the cool second sight chunky box edition of this. I was kind of at the time I wasn't even sure if I wanted it. I had only seen this film once, and so I just kind of passed on it. And then about a year after that, I was regretting my decision. I probably would have picked up the chunky box initially if I had been more into the film at the time. But when it first came out, I was like, I don't know, do I like that film or not? I mean, I remembered liking it, but I didn't know if I liked it enough to buy a chunky box, right? So then when, who came out with this? Sony? Yeah, so then when Sony came along with a steelbook, a couple years later, I decided to pick that up. And it's a great looking 4K too. If you're a fan of this film already, this is a great looking 4K. I don't know how it compares to the second sight one, but I'm guessing it's probably sourced from the same transfer. So anyway, awesome film. If you've never seen it, I definitely recommend it. Drive for my number 6. All right, heading into my top 5 here, we've got a little sci-fi neo-noir action. And now when I say that, what movie do you guys think I'm talking about? I'm guessing you know exactly which movie I'm talking about. When I say sci-fi and neo-noir, which movie comes to mind? I bet it's Blade Runner. A little Harrison Ford action here. Sean Young, Roy Scheider's in this, Rutger Hauer, Daryl Hannah. Really, really great film. I don't think I even need to say that, do I? I mean, this is an absolute classic, and it is also dripping in that neo-noir atmosphere, that moodiness, the visual aesthetics. Ridley Scott just did an amazing job with this film. Absolute classic. I don't know how much I can really say about this. I mean, we all know what Blade Runner is. Just an awesome film. And initially, I didn't think of it as a neo-noir film for some reason, even though it's pretty obvious when you watch it. It definitely has those vibes. But when I was researching this list, I was like, oh yeah, I can use sci-fi movies too. I guess there is such a thing as a sci-fi neo-noir movie, and which makes sense, right? I think that's what the neo refers to. It takes those classic film noir sensibilities and attributes and kind of applies them to other genres. It doesn't have to be a specific genre. The vibe is absolutely there. And I'll take it a step further. I'm kind of cheating on this entry. I've got 2 titles because I'm actually going to include both the Blade Runner movies in this entry, right? Both the original, which, classic, and 2049, which is one of the greatest sci-fi sequels ever. Denis Villeneuve directed this one, and he just did an amazing, amazing job with it. He somehow managed to capture the essence of Ridley Scott's atmosphere and vibe. I mean, I felt like I was watching an extension of Ridley Scott when I was watching 2049. Ryan Gosling again in this one. Yeah, this is a great movie, great sequel, and it very much continues that atmosphere that you get in the original Blade Runner. So for my number 5, it's mainly Blade Runner, but I do think we can include this one in the mix as well. So Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 for my number 5. And moving on to my number 4, we've got one I just received on 4K yesterday and watched last night, and I was pretty happy with it. I was pretty blown away. And I'm talking about Jackie Brown. Now, this is one of those movies that when I was doing this list, I hadn't even considered that Jackie Brown might be a neo-noir film, but it absolutely is. When I was rewatching it last night, it's like I totally see it. I totally see it now in a way that I didn't before. So I was really happy that I got to include this one on my list. I'm very happy because I love this film. It's my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. And really, it's not even close. Well, Pulp Fiction's pretty damn good, but this is my favorite Tarantino film. I just love everything about this movie, and it's one I could rewatch over and over again. And in fact, I have. So and the 4K looks amazing. This 4K is incredible. Easily the best this film's ever looked. I don't know. I might actually do a review on this and the other 2 Tarantino films that came out, the Kill Bills. So let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. But otherwise, yeah, I was really happy with this 4K. And, I'm kind of giddy about it. I'm a little bit excited because I just got it. So, and the slipcover even looks cool. You don't really see it on the Amazon listing or Walmart or like online. You can't tell, but there's actually a cool, like slight metallic sheen to the slipcover here. And I think it really does look cool. Of course, it's glossy as well. but the slip covers for these new Tarantino movies actually look better in hand than they do, you know, across the internet. So keep that in mind. But yeah, really cool 4K. And, you know, there's so many aspects of this film that I think fit perfectly in with the neo-noir film genre. So yeah, Jackie Brown for my number 4. Okay, and next up for my number 3, we've got a film directed by the legendary Brian De Palma here, and I'm talking about Blowout. This is my absolute favorite Brian De Palma film. I love this movie. It's so good. I've got the Criterion 4K here, which with Criterion, you don't always know whether it's 4K or Blu-ray, right? Just from looking at the front cover. But yeah, great looking 4K here. You've got John Travolta in this. You've got John Lithgow as the bad guy, or one of them, and Nancy Allen, who I've always liked Nancy Allen. I kind of had a crush on her when I was a little younger. So yeah, she's awesome. But yeah, such a great film here. You got the it's a crime drama thriller. There's an element of mystery here, and it definitely has that cynicism and that pessimism and the you know, kind of the whole anti-hero thing here, the unconventional hero. So yeah, it's just a very cool film. So if you've never seen this one, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Brian De Palma's other work, but maybe you just haven't gotten around to checking this one out yet. Yeah, this is a really good De Palma film all the way around, and a great looking 4K. So for my number 3, Blowout. All right, and for my number 2, we have another absolute classic here, and this is full-blown neo-noir in all its glory. I'm talking about Basic Instinct, Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone. Yeah, really great film. This film has all the elements that we love about neo-noir movies rolled into it, and you know, directed by the great Paul Verhoeven. This film just looks amazing. It's a great story. It's rich with the atmosphere and moodiness that we love about neo-noir movies. And yeah, just a very cool film. This is a Studio Canal 4K, a UK release that you can get on Amazon US. And it is an astounding looking 4K. It is truly stunning. I was pretty impressed with this one. It surprised me how good it looked. But yeah, it looks amazing on 4K. So much crisp detail, and all that great atmosphere comes through with the HDR and the wider color gamut. You got all that pop and depth to the image. So yeah, this is a very cool neo-noir movie and a great looking 4K. So Basic Instinct, I'm guessing most of you have probably seen this one, but on the off chance that you haven't, this is one you should probably think about checking out if you're a fan of neo-noir movies. So yeah, for my number 2, Basic Instinct. And then for my number 1, we have another stone cold classic here, absolute classic, one of my all-time favorite films, period, like a top 5 all-time favorite film for me. And I'm talking about Al Pacino, Robert De Niro in Heat, another Michael Mann film, and one of the reasons I'm such a big Michael Mann fan. I saw this movie in the theater when it first came out in '95 and just fell in love with this movie and have rewatched this film so many times since then. And I've got the 4K Steelbook here, and again, pardon the reflection, this one's really glossy, so it's kind of hard to avoid the reflections on that. But I actually thought the Steelbook looked cool. I thought it was kind of elegant and classy looking, and so that's why I went with the Steelbook. But the slipcovered edition looked pretty cool too. But yeah, and then the back there, when the cops are at that whatever plant that they're at, I can't even remember what it was. But anyway, this is a movie I've always loved. Just incredible performances from Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Jon Voight, and others as well. There's a lot of great people in this film. Now, as far as the 4K is concerned, a lot of people complained about this 4K when it first came out. They thought it was too dark, and I understand that. It is a little darker, and you know, that's the way Michael Mann wanted it to look. That was intentional. So not everybody digs it. So you might find you need to yeah, you might need to bump up the brightness and contrast in your 4K player or on your TV, just a couple notches to accommodate that if you're not comfortable with it being as dark as it is. But I think the 4K looks fine. It looks the way Michael Mann wanted it to, and the way he originally intended it to look, or at least that's what he says. Now, I know sometimes Michael Mann tweaks things, so it's hard to say if that was his original intent or not. But it's not one of my favorite 4Ks, if I'm being totally honest, but it doesn't look bad. It's just not as impressive as other 4Ks I have in my collection. So, but yeah, I love this film. To me, a great neo-noir film. Michael Mann is all about those neo-noir vibes, the neon, and that's like his signature. And just the way he films things. I just love his style and the way he works as a filmmaker. So yeah, for my number one, Heat. All right, so that covers my top 10 list here. But of course, as always, I do have a few honorable mentions I want to go through really quickly here. I'm not going to spend too much time on these because what have I got? 5 or 6 here? Yeah, so Glengarry Glen Ross is a great neo-noir film, you know, and it's a little bit different, you know. It kind of takes the neo-noir vibe and extends it to the I don't know, high stakes cutthroat world of real estate sales, right? But this has so many cool aesthetics in it. The way this film is shot just looks awesome. It really does. They use a lot of saturated primary colors, bold primary colors. The way the shots are put out, just the way it's filmed looks amazing. And you got you got an element of mystery here as well. You've got there's definitely a very cynical movie. So yeah, Jack Lemmon, Al Pacino in this, Alec Baldwin for that very memorable scene, right? Coffee is for closers only. Just love this film. And, you know, initially I wasn't thinking in terms of like neo-noir for this movie, but the more I thought about it when I was watching it, when I first got this Blu-ray a few months back, I hadn't seen the movie probably since the 90s. And when I was revisiting it, I was like totally in awe of the aesthetics of this film and what a beautiful film it is. It really is a beautiful film, which is not something you would think about for a cutthroat real estate sales film, right? So, but it really is well done, and it's just a gorgeous looking movie. So there's a lot of neo-noir vibes in Glengarry Glen Ross. So if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. Good film. Next up is a title I talked about in my last collection update video, Deep Cover, Lawrence Fishburne, Jeff Goldblum. Great little film here, also from 1992, as was Glengarry Glen Ross. And yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting this one as well. Just added this to the collection, as I said, not too long ago. And it was fun to watch this one again after not having seen it for so many years. But Lawrence Fishburne, excellent in this movie. He's one of my favorite actors. He's definitely a top 10 favorite actor for me. So yeah, Deep Cover, great film. And this is a Criterion Blu-ray, by the way. Not on 4K. This is just a Blu-ray. And a great looking transfer as well. I thought it looked really good when I was watching the Blu-ray. So Deep Cover. And then also one more Michael Mann movie here for my honorable mention this time, because I already had a couple Michael Mann movies in my top 10 list, but I got to talk about Thief as well. Heist film, right? It's about a thief, and yeah, Michael Mann, he's great with that whole neo-noir vibe. You know, his atmosphere in his movies is just so awesome. And, Thief is no exception. I believe this was Michael Mann's first film, and you can see his atmospheric and lighting techniques in play, even in his first film. He knows what he's doing, and nobody can deliver mood and atmosphere and vibe like Michael Mann can. So yeah, Thief. And this is coming to 4K soon, by the way. I just have the Blu-ray, like I mentioned in my last video, but it's coming to 4K soon, I think next month, February. So yeah, keep an eye out for it if you're interested in getting this one on 4K. And then another one that I think is worth an honorable mention here. Actually, there are two here that I think are interesting. A couple superhero films, right, or live action comics that I think are totally neo-noir movies. And the first is Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Yeah, this has got such great vibe and atmosphere, and a lot of components of the story here, of what's going on in this film, definitely play into that neo-noir vibe. Now, admittedly, I haven't actually watched this for quite some time. I don't think I've seen this movie for probably, I don't know, 8 years. Yeah, maybe even a decade. I don't know. I haven't seen this one in a while, but I do have the director's cut here. Never upgraded it to 4K. I believe there is a 4K out there of this, and I just never got around to upgrading it. I was happy with my director's cut here on Blu-ray. But yeah, very much a neo-noir film. You know, there's some mystery in there. There's, you know, you got this kind of detective type figure trying to figure out what's going on. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of dark, but that's part of what we love about neo-noir movies. So a little neo-noir comic movie here, Watchmen. Then another live-action comic movie that I felt fit perfectly in the neo-noir film genre, and that is The Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman. I thought this was a good film. Now, it's not clear whether we're ever going to get a sequel to this or if this is just going to end up being a one-off, but I did think this was a good movie. I thought it was well done, and you definitely focus on Batman as the detective. You know, this plays more like a crime drama than a superhero movie. It's definitely a bit of a slow burn, especially in the first part of the movie, and you know, I like that about it. It's a long film, but I thought it was really well done. It's a very dark, you know, the tone and the atmosphere is definitely very dark. And I mean, Gotham City, that makes sense. Gotham City is the perfect location for a neo-noir movie. So yeah, I enjoyed The Batman. And what did you guys think of this one? As far as superhero movies go, how did this Batman compare to other Batman movies, Christopher Nolan or Zack Snyder or whatnot? So yeah, The Batman. And then the last honorable mention I'll just throw out there real quick is To Live and Die in LA, directed by William Friedkin. And, you know, this is one of those ones that I didn't think of it as a neo-noir film at first. But when I was doing my research, I saw it showing up on a lot of people's lists. And I was like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see the neo-noirism in To Live and Die in LA. Such a great film. Really well done film. So if you've never seen it, I would recommend it. And this Kino Lorber 4K looks amazing as well. They always do great work with their 4K discs. And To Live and Die in LA is no exception. Great looking Kino Lorber release. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much about this. I have talked about this one on the channel before. If you haven't seen it before, yeah, you should check it out. It's a great film. So for my last honorable mention today, To Live and Die in LA. Okay, so that about wraps it up for my top 10 favorite neo-noir movies on physical media. Let me know what you think of my list down in the comments below. What did you think of my choices? I know there are a shitload of neo-noir films out there, so maybe your own personal list has a completely different slate of films on it. But what did you share in common with my list? Which films did you like off of my list? And what are some of your own personal favorite neo-noir movies? I always love chatting with you guys and hearing from you, so make sure you leave me some feedback in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.